A reading, A Prescription for Pestilence or Too Many Drugs, Not Enough Medicine, by Tot. Ready for your checkup, Mr. Curie? Dr. Plackett and his team asked the man on the opposite side of the table. The man was Mr. Curie, one of the many individuals who came to his clinic in the little Scotland village. Curie had always been healthy, but when he came across this new clinic, Honest Med, he experienced a litany of health issues. Dr. Plackett founded and owned the clinic. He ran with the help of his nurse and dietary aide. Dr. Plackett looked healthy and vibrant, but always had bags under his eyes, and a constant smug smile and air of superiority about him that oozed through his lab coat. His nurse, Dr. Staton, was a thin man who seemed to take an odd fascination in checking blood that reminded one of a vampire bat. He had large eyes and sat somewhat hunched over, like he was always waiting for the next patient to phlebotomize. The dietary aide, Mrs. Sweet, who was a rather large woman and vaguely resembled the whales that used to be hunted in the village in days of old. In spite of this being a professional meeting, she was eating a meal that would suffice the hunger of half a rugby team. When the Honest Med clinic came to town, it kept people healthy. Unfortunately, over time, all the villagers who were once healthy were suddenly turning ill. I'm tired of feeling this way, and I need help with my health, doctor, Mr. Curie said. Well, Mr. Curie, have you been following the regimen that we created just for you? Mr. Curie briefly glanced away before meeting his eyes again. Yes, sir, I have, and I believe it has been causing me issues with my sleep, along with my low energy levels. Nurse Stanton piped up with, We've given you a similar regimen as a few other individuals, along with the medication to help supplement the regimen. No one else has had any complaints. I've made a diet component that I take myself, and I'm the picture of health, Mrs. Sweet bellowed out between chewing. None of that helps me, Mr. Curie said rather firmly, and I think it might be causing the symptoms I've been having. His sleep was affecting him, and he felt that AA batteries had more energy than he did. It was maddening, to say the least. My sleep is in the dumps after I was told I was getting too much sun, and this new diet is nearly starving me, even though I'm now a few more pounds overweight than I was before I started coming here. Mr. Curie, the doctor said, sighing, we are the experts. We know what's best for you. You can trust us. Mr. Curie tensed. I've done my research and found out certain things that you should know about the disease. 1. Getting a little sun is good for you and helps keep your immune system up. Did you hear this from a celebrity? Dr. Platt asked, peering down care over the top of his glasses. They're superb at playing, Doctor. The sun? Nurse Stanton rolled his eyes. You mean that enormous ball of heat and radiation that will only harm you if you don't listen to us? Mr. Curie could feel himself growing more agitated. I also learned it's important to have a normal portion of food as well. I've been trying to make food that is healthy as possible. Mrs. Sweetbalk, everything I eat is healthy because they're big servings and fortified with lots of vitamins. But my research says it's more just calories in and calories out. You need to have the right food intake for your activity level. Dr. Plackett removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. He was silent for a moment. For heaven's sakes, I hope you haven't been spraying this nonsense around the village. I have, Miss Curie snapped, and I've asked for a second opinion. The exact reason it came was due to the villagers themselves. They were literally and figuratively sick, thanks to these hypocritical healers. Mr. Curie's own best friend enjoyed a pint from time to time, but had developed prediabetes. At the advice of the healers, he switched from beer to soda. His sister had developed horrible acne and joint pain being moved to a high-carb diet that caused inflammation to a horrible degree. Mr. Curie put 2 and 2 together along with the rest of the village and decided they had to do something. How could they not? They'd all been given too many drugs and not enough medicine. The local village leaders were most likely in cahoots with the company, and they'd be dealt with accordingly. Mr. Curie and the other villagers got together to formulate a plan. These healers were infection-promoting invaders, and the village people were the cure. They had to consult another source of health they found after reading old tomes of the village's history. It held an ancient way to heal them, these pox practitioners, and it was a very brutal solution, but one that was needed. It's like how the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Who could you possibly get to help that is on par with our unflappable expertise? Doppler asked with a grin. How did this third party help you and not secretly hurt you through their incompetence? Nurse Stanton sneered. Do they know all the complex and intricate details of nutrition that I do? Mrs. Sweet bellowed. A source of older, darker wisdom feels that you are trying to hustle in on his turf, Curie said. Curie smiled then and produced a vial of mysterious fluid and shattered on the ground, releasing a liquid that smelled like dead horses soaked in seawater. Dr. Plackett saw nothing but a small mess for the Orioles to clean up. Then he noticed the oddity of the liquid. It must be a trick of his eyes to spread such a large void in the ground. But then out came a nightmare. A large hand with no skin, veins pulsing of something that resembled rotten avocado. The form of a large man with glowing red eyes and a bulbous head, carrying a whip made of the spine of a horse and wielded by gangly arms, which formed him up as a skinless horse with fiery eyes to match its upper half. The terror of the three was only amplified when it gave them an angry look and a nasty smile, showing that it was about to have fun. Mr. Curie let out a breath. This here is the Knuckleaf, the blight of the sea and ruiner of horses. He has been here far longer than any of us. It is truly a sick world when the only cure is a monster, but so be it. He has come back to teach you all a lesson. We are not the masters of disease, and you will pay for your pride. The medical team tried to escape, but the Knuckleaf crowded the small room. It would not let them leave. Mrs. Sweet tried to make a break for it, food still clenched in hand, but the monster caught her with its whip. It grabbed the burger and infused it with a blight most foul, ironically only making it slightly worse off from its original processed state. It shoved the foul food stuff into her gullet and released her from its whip. Mrs. Sweet crumbled to the ground and howled in pain. Her body started to expand. Yellow fat oozed out of her eyes and ears before she exploded all over the room. Mr. Curie was the only one not in the splash zone, having hid himself behind a chair, only seeing the justice done from afar. The creature grabbed a cowering Nurse Staton, breathed dark smog over him, then threw him across the room. Dazed, Staton got up and screamed at the top of his lungs. The man's blood turned horribly acidic, burning him from the inside out. He desperately tried to bite off his head to get it out, but his skin became rubbery. He gripped his chest, but his insides were slowly liquefying from the toxins. His legs fell out from under him, and he turned to a gore-filled balloon. Curie and the doctor could hear the sloshing of his internal facilities being rendered obsolete, turning him into a human waterbed. Mr. Curie thought it was a fitting end for him. He set his sights on Dr. Plackett. Mr. Curie, we can talk about this. I can try some new things. Maybe the old models don't work anymore. Mr. Curie shook his head. You keep us sick and pretend to help. You want customers, not patients. You are a fraud healer and profit off the suffering of those you are supposed to protect. The Knuckleaf may be a monster, but at least it's not a hypocrite. Curie grins. I bet what he gives you won't make you have to take two and call him in the morning. The creature had heard enough and grabbed the doctor by his arms, heaved him up into the air, and brought him close to its face. Furthermore, the Knuckleaf kept his hand on Plackett's left arm and moved his jaw to the right one. In one swift motion, the horse grabbed the leg and gave him all. Dr. Plackett's right leg went into its other hand, and the monster pulled him taut. The beast drew and quartered him by pulling on all four of his limbs at once. The doctor fell, just the torso and head to the ground, gasped the last breath of air, and died. Mr. Curie couldn't wait to tell the villagers they were now safe from the veritable monsters. He also wondered what else in there would help cure against the other purveyors of sickness that infested the world.